So we're going to click, and I do a few things on the front end as people come in. We're going to do some tech checks, audio and all that, and then we're going to get started. So I'm going to check in here. Who have we got with us? Hi, Joshua and Eric. Hi, you guys. Can you hear me okay? If you can give me the thumbs up in the chat that all is well on sound. Hi, Carol and Rachel. Whoa, everybody's coming in. So once I see that we're good on chat, I'm going to pop over to Facebook, and we're going to stream our last, it's probably going to be my last live stream into Facebook, Wendy. So there you go.
Oh, yay. I'm honored.
Yes. And then we're going to do a proper introduction. Hi. Thank you, Joanna, for that thumbs up. And I'm going to go here. Hold on a moment and make sure all good there. All right. I see us out there. Fantastic. So I am going to jump right in. This is such an important topic. And I'm just thrilled to have Wendy Myers here. She is the founder of MyersDetox.com, a detox expert, functional diagnostic nutritionist, and NES bioenergetic practitioner, as well as the #1 best-selling author of Limitless Energy, How to Detox Toxic Metals to End Exhaustion and Chronic Fatigue. Boy, we could all use that right now. Additionally, Wendy is the host of the Heavy Metals Summit and 2 podcasts, the Myers Detox podcast about protecting your health with detoxification, and the Supercharged podcast about bioenergetics. Passionate about the importance of detox to live a long and healthy life, she created the revolutionary Myers Detox Protocol after working with thousands of clients, as well as a range of supplements to help you detox from everyday living and maintain your healthy lifestyle. So we're going to tell you more about how to find Wendy and everything as we go through this process of learning about EMFs and the Harmony pendant, which I am wearing and have been sharing and showing ever since I got it. So welcome, Wendy. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and you are living in, give us a little bit about where you're at today in this crazy time.
Yeah, I'm in Mexico. I moved down here because I was just, it was just a little bit, there's a lot of nutty energy going around right now in the US. So I took the opportunity to move abroad, which I've always wanted to do. And I moved down to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and I made a great decision. I love it.
You love it. I was just there in, let me see, I believe it was 2017. We were over there in Cozumel at El Presidente Resort, and we scooted on over to where you are and spent the day over in that area. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, I was here in Tulum a couple years ago, and I thought, why am I just not here? Why am I not swimming this beautiful, crystal clear, warm water every day? So
yeah, what's the environment like down there?
It's kind of like jungle meets the Caribbean Ocean. And it's just there's about 17,000, US and Canadian expats that live here also. So it's just a really great community. It's very relaxed. It's very, it's just a great community. It's a great feeling.
No restrictions, no.
Oh, for COVID. Yeah. So no, masks are they're mandated, but only about a quarter of people don't wear them, including myself. Unless you go to a grocery store, you have to. But I just, there's certainly some people where they're really concerned, like maybe that's warranted, but I'm not in a high risk category. I already had it. I had it symptomless. And so for me, it's just, I'm not really worried about it. So I don't want to be kind of, I don't want to have to follow all these health protocols that perhaps aren't applicable to me. Yeah. But certainly people that are in high risk category, by all means, stay home,
Right. Yeah. Right. So similar to here, but maybe a little more laid back than us, right?
Laid back. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So let's get into this. Let's talk about how did you get interested in EMFs? And since you're a detox specialist and expert, I mean, obviously EMFs are something that we kind of need to detox from as well. So they kind of go hand in hand with each other, right? So tell me a little bit of back history there. Like what got you into the EMF world and just tell us all about it. I want to hear more.
Yeah, well, I'm like everyone, I'm just trying to be healthy. And I've spent many, many, many years, eating healthy and eating the right supplements and detoxing heavy metals and chemicals. But there was always that next level. I always knew about EMF, which are like electromagnetic fields or frequencies that are emitted by our cell phones, computers, the wireless internet, our TV, or anything with Bluetooth, anything with electricity, the electricity in the walls, a smart meter sending out, telling your electricity company how much energy you're using, and all of your neighbors' Wi-Fi routers. And there's so many different sources of these non-native frequencies that really scramble your body's communication system. So I was always aware of this, but I didn't really know, what to do, or it was kind of low on my priority list to address. So when I finally kind of had some, did some more education, I was, really focusing on bioenergetics and learning about that about 5 years ago, and learning how our body works. We have this energy field in our body, this energy field that surrounds us. Our heart sends out an energy field 10 feet in diameter around us. And we have brain waves that our body emits, that the body uses they release some for stress and some for relaxation, for sleep, and we have every organ system in our body has an energy field. And so when you throw in and they send messages, the body sends messages from the brain to the pancreas, from the heart to wherever. And when you have these frequencies that are interfering in that, that's when people have symptomology. That's when they have what's called electro hypersensitivity, where they can have heart palpitations. They can have trouble sleeping, because these frequencies are interfering in your heart actions, your heart pumping. People have trouble sleeping because it's interfering in your brain waves. And so these are just a couple of examples of how these non-native harsh frequencies, which are growing more and more and more in our environment, are causing a multitude of different symptoms. So it's not enough today to just be looking at, your diet and, what diet should I do to lose weight. EMFs are interfering in your ability to lose weight. They're raising your blood sugar. They cause poor sleep, which makes you have high cortisol the next day. It makes you want to eat more the next day. So, if your New Year's resolution is to lose that COVID-19 that a lot of us gained over the last year from all the stress, you want to be thinking about EMF and protecting from EMF, not just doing like another diet or another fast or what have you. EMF protection needs to be on your kind of bucket list to address this year, because these frequencies are increasing our environment. There's 5G satellites that are being launched into our environment. There's 180 last month just by Elon Musk alone. Bill Gates is in the game, Jeff Bezos, Amazon. There's, Bill Gates funds SoftBank, which is a Chinese company doing video 5G satellites, big surprise. And there's OneWeb. There's lots of different companies that are slated to release 100,000 satellites in our environment to blanket the earth, every corner of the earth, in 5G over the next 2 to 3 years.
That's so scary.
And this is something you have to pay attention to. It is going to negatively impact millions and millions of people.
Yeah. And, Diane Kaiser and I interviewed Mark Steele a couple of weeks ago for our podcast, and he's a big advocate for education and safety around 5G. In the UK. And, the scariest thing about it, there was a video of him driving down the interstate or driving down the highway, and they had, if I'm not mistaken, they had put up specific towers, and they were just dropping 5G everywhere. Right. And then the smart cars, like that drive on electricity, or whatever, they were stalled all over the place. Like they had a major malfunction in how they ended up setting these things up. Like I think we underestimate the power of the energy you're talking about, the frequencies, the energy, all of those things. The waves of energy that are around us and around the things that are in our lives. So when you say bioenergetics, since we're talking to wellness professionals, but also we want to keep this nice and layman friendly, what is the definition of bioenergetic?
So bioenergetics is just essentially the study of the energy of your biology. So where we're not looking at the physical functioning, where you have a communication system in your body, like you have your nervous system, you have your hormones and your thyroid hormones and what have you. And that's one way the body communicates messages, around the body. But the main way the body communicates is in this energy field that I talked about. And so bioenergetics is the study of this energy field, essentially. Yeah. And how that works. And I think one of the most elegant ways to work with the human body is to work in this energy field, because the energy field is what dictates physical functioning. And so working in the energy field is much easier than just trying to tweak physical functioning. I mean, of course, many people need thyroid hormones. Of course, people need nutrition, and you can't exclude that. But I think people need to look beyond just trying to work on the physical plane, especially if they've been sick for 10 years and they've just exhausted every route. I work with that clientele with bioenergetics.
Yeah, and so I'm going to ask you to share a couple of examples of clients that you might have worked with that you have seen drastic changes over, working with them. But I want to specify for people that, so many times when we talk about things that are not something that's part of your daily life, like food or exercise, it can seem a little too woo-woo to believe. But this is actual science, right?
Yeah.
The science backs this. This is not us. We're not chanting our way through EMF conversation here. This is for real, you guys. This is for real. What's going on in the world.
You can go on PubMed. I mean, there's thousands of studies. Type in bioenergetics or energy medicine or what have you. There's thousands of studies being conducted by this. The Russians are ahead of the game. I mean, they've been adding frequencies to supplements and doing all kinds of crazy things with frequencies and bioenergetics. They're way ahead of us in that department.
Yeah. And so also I want to say this too, as a person, I opened the Institute for Functional Health Coaching back in 2017 to teach health coaches how to help people with things that go way beyond movement and food. And so stress is one of those things that we try to focus on. And this is a huge stressor to the body. I have had many coaches, and I've worked with hundreds of clients over the last decade that they have not gotten well. They've done everything right. And then it's like, well, turn off your Wi-Fi tonight and see if you sleep any different. And it's like, whoa, I slept through the night for the first time. So you mentioned that it disrupts, our brain waves and of course our hormones, right? Melatonin, cortisol, our circadian pattern overall. Can you share some of your stories of maybe some of the worst cases you've seen that have turned around from working with you on this type of thing, and give some people out there a little bit of hope that may not feel they've done everything and they don't know how else to move forward?
Yeah. So when I'm working with someone, I'm always looking at getting back to basics, where getting rid of these roadblocks that are preventing proper functioning. It's not always something complex, and so I work on hydration, I work on minerals, I work on EMF mitigation, and some other things as well. But yeah, so I had one client that came to me very, very sick. She'd been to 20 different doctors. And she was like, I don't think that you're going to help me. You're just going to be another person I'm paying, wasting money on. But I'm just, I'm going to try whatever you're going to say. Just, hopefully it works. And so, we did a few things with her, but she put on this Harmony pendant here. This is a pendant that it helps to optimize your body's energy field. And it's very, very quick, because a lot of times there's things that people can do, but they can't afford them, or they're very complex, or they take time. People want results really fast. And I'm no, exception to that. And so she put this pendant on, and the same night she started sleeping better. She had like really lucid dreams. She was, like I said, she was sleeping a lot better. She said she wasn't having the heart palpitations that she was having before. She had less aches and pains in her body. And she was really, really taken aback by it. And I had that same kind of experience with it when I met the person who developed this. I was going through a really, really stressful period in my life where I was, living in a moldy home. I was kind of divorcing my business partner at the time. It was not working for me. I just gotten divorced, a lot of change. And so I just woke up feeling like crap every morning. I just felt terrible. And I met a person at a conference. They put this pendant on me, and I literally felt like I was high for the next 4 days. And I just felt incredible. And I was sleeping really, really well. It was really profound. And I hadn't experienced anything like that before. Mm-hmm. And so, it took the person a couple of years to convince me to try to kind of get this message out to the world. But the Harmony pendant is really interesting in that it very quickly, the circles in the pendant is kind of geometry. Geometry changes the information that's being sent to your body. So this information, it's kind of like a key code almost, that helps to kind of optimize your body's energy field, so your body's energy blueprint, so to speak. And it does it in a couple of minutes. You put it on and you do like this little process to like activate it, so to speak. You have to activate it to your body. And in doing that, you receive a lot of the benefits that I just talked about, like you're sleeping better, like aches and pains going away. People have, like they feel more energy, they feel more brain clarity. We have one lady said her son had 4 operations for heart palpitations, different ablations on his heart. And his heart palpitations were down 90% after, putting on the pendant. But there's a study that we did on it because, we just wanted to be able to scientifically prove to people that the pendant is doing and what it says it does. But there's thousands and thousands of testimonials on the Harmony Pendant website. But we did a study. One of the studies is using HRV technology. So we proved that it dramatically improves your HRV, which is your heart rate variability. Mm-hmm. And so that's a measure of stress. So we've shown that it, the majority of people, not everyone, but the majority of people that on the 101 patients, that they had improvements in their stress levels, improvements in their mitochondrial energy function, improvements in their circadian rhythm function. We did another study on chakras and meridians, and some of the meridians improved 2,000% in the energy flow flowing through them and their function as well. So really, really impressive results. I was again surprised. I know I keep continue to be surprised by what I find out with the pendant and how it works, but it's just a really simple, quick thing that people can utilize. And in optimizing your body's energy field, it helps to protect you from EMF as well. It's not blocking EMF or anything like that, but in optimizing your body's energy field and optimizing its function, you have better protection from stressors like EMF, and they don't affect you as much. And so in the study, we were able to deduce it has about a 48% mitigation of the stressful effects of EMF. But I think the study had been designed a little bit better because we tested people only 5 minutes after wearing the pendant. But when you optimize the body's energy field, it really takes 3 or 4 days for the physical expression of that, for the body to kind of follow suit and to show improvements. So I think if we tested people like 30 minutes later or, a day later, we would have seen even more drastic improvements in EMF mitigation.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned HRV. It's funny because right before you said that, I was going to say, can you explain to us how this affects our heart rate variability? I'm a big believer in that. I've had the M-Wave 2 tool for many, many, many years, and was blown away just by even having that particular tool in hand when I was learning about HRV and how it affected my life. And it's a very real, again, it's one of those things you're like, oh, heart rate variability, energy of the heart, whatever. No, I mean, there has been hard evidence in myself, as I've experienced that myself when I practice heart rate variability, and I do the exercise and I use the tool and all of that. It makes a huge difference in your stress. So you explained that beautifully about how it helps us to regulate our energy. And that was one of the things I was unclear on. So let's talk a little bit more about how it actually works. So you said a moment ago that there's a process you have to go through, and I know it because I've been doing it since I bought my pendant, right? But can you explain that process? Because people automatically get turned off if there's too many steps they have to take. And I just have to say, so easy. So
yeah, it couldn't be easier. It could not be easier. Yeah. So what you do with the pendant when you first get it, and you essentially, it will still work if you just put it on, but you really want to optimize it. You have to kind of activate it or tune it to your body's energy field. And how you do that, you would take it off and you just hold it about a foot from your heart. So it doesn't have to be exact, but just about a foot from your sternum right here. You hold that. We just found over years that's the best kind of point to do this. It's kind of like a clearing point, so to speak. And so you put the pendant about a foot in front of you, and you just hold it there for 2 minutes. That's all you do. And so that the geometrical shapes, like the holes in the pendant, is sending information to your body to kind of clear the energy field. It reduces stressors of different types. And we see that clearly in the HRV data. It tested about 30 different variables, all of which are on the study. On there's a link below here you can click. All of these different kind of variables are outlined visually and statistically. You can see the percentage improvements. And so that's all you do. But you want to do it every single week, because different things will kind of, knock out your energy field, or, cause it to run more inefficiently. So if you're exposed, you have a high exposure to EMF. So you walk into a mall, and there's tons of EMF, that's going to drain you and kind of throw off your energy field. If you get and have some emotional trauma, you're in a fight with a loved one, again, that you take a hit. You eat a food that you're sensitive to, you take a hit. You're exposed to heavy metals and chemicals, you take a hit. These are all different things that will, cause problems, or, cause your energy field to not be optimized, and so you want to continue tuning up your energy field every single week. So I just have a thing every Saturday morning. I just do my pendant activation. It's just activate it again. And anytime you don't feel well, you can also do the same thing. Sometimes I forget, I'm human, and I had, many times where I've taken my pendant off, or, I've been wearing mine for about 4 years now. And I've had times where I've taken it off and stopped wearing it and whatnot. It's like one period I didn't wear it for like 2 months, and then I put it on again and activated it. I felt incredible that day. I felt really, really good. So I do really notice a difference when I stop wearing it and I put it back on again. But I did find that, when I first put it on and had it activated, I felt kind of like high for a few days, and then I habituated to it. And so, and I found that out, that you have your new normal, and you kind of get used to that. And you might not like feel anything, so to speak, after that. But if you take it off, you kind of will start getting kind of, don't feel as great. And then you put it back on, and you notice a difference, especially people that are energetically sensitive, or that are empaths or intuitives, or people that are very EMF sensitive. These people are going to feel a much bigger difference than someone, say, like Dr. Mercola wears his pendant, but he's operating at such a high level, his improvements like that. Someone that's really, really, really healthy, you may not feel that much of an improvement. But there were about 8 doctors in the study. Dr. Lisa Koch, who's a brilliant mitochondrial physician. We had Dr. Nathan Bryan, who's one of the leading experts on nitric oxide in the study. Dr. Marlene Siegel, who's a DVM. Dr. Michael Rankin Jr., a lot of really, really well-known people in our space that I was very privileged to have, conduct this study. And they found that even people who didn't, quote, feel anything still had improvements on their HRV. So, many times people, they're not in touch with their bodies, especially if they have emotional trauma in their past. People can be very kind of purposely kind of divested from their body and feeling things in their body. And so some people in that population may not feel anything, but it is making improvements.
Yeah. So to share just a little bit of personal experience with it, because I'm like you, I need to be convinced, convince me again. I mean, and we work in the same space where people are always like, sign up with this and try this and jump on my team for this. Right. So we have a lot of opportunity to explore progressive techniques and things like that. So naturally, we'd be broke and not be able to run our businesses because we'd be too busy trying everything if we gave into it all. Right. So I'm like you. And one of the things that I noticed when I finally purchased one, Robin Openshaw was the one that I listened to, Green Smoothie Girl, right? And what I noticed was, first and foremost, that I used to be a really big dreamer. I mean, well, I'm a daydreamer too, but I mean, like very vivid dreams. I could smell things, I could feel things. It is like I'm alive in the dream. And my dreams, the more stress that came on this year and the more responsibilities and things and, you know, navigating and bobbing and weaving with the world we live in, the less dreams I was having.
Yeah.
Right. And so, which told me, you know, my sleep was probably not as optimal as it needed to be. And so when I got the pendant, I call it harmonizing it with my body. I don't know why I do that, but I do. I'm harmonizing my necklace. Right. And I let go of the perfectionist in me that got the ruler out, by the way. Yeah. Right. And what I noticed was my dreams since starting to wear this have become so vivid and more real again, like they used to be. I mean, to the point where I would wake up and I'm like, did I sleep? I don't remember one dream. Well, now I'm having very clear and vivid dreams again. And another thing I want to share with you, because you brought up trauma, which I've experienced myself, significant betrayal in marriage, loss of a 20-year relationship, whatnot, moving, etc., is that I disassociated very much from being in this body to deal with all of the things that were coming my way. So I've noticed more feeling and grounding underneath me, and more I feel things more intensely or more in a real way since I've started wearing it. So I didn't wear it last night because I was cleaning it. I don't remember anything I dreamed about last night. Isn't that funny? I mean, there has to be something to that.
Yeah, because, you know, when you're improving your body's energy field, you're improving your circadian rhythms, you're sleeping more deeply, you're getting more of a restorative sleep, you're getting that deep sleep state where you dream and then remember your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I definitely had that for a long time. I didn't remember my dreams. And when I got into bioenergetics is when I had that restored to me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really a beautiful gift also. And I personally, I am absolutely convinced that the pendant does in some way help to kind of release emotional trauma, not 100%, but to a certain degree. There's a lot of things that I do to help with emotional trauma and identify it and release it. But the pendant is a very good start. And there's nothing out there that's like 100%. You know, the pendant is not 100% EMF protection, 100% going to solve your sleep issues, 100% going to release emotional trauma. But we do know in the science is that we know that your emotions are held in your energy field, and they can be very easily released and transmuted by working in the energy field. So I do different things. I do like Nest Health bioenergetics. I do biofield tuning and sound therapy as well. It's absolutely proven in the science that sound therapy helps to release emotional trauma. But the pendant in kind of optimizing your energy field does help to kind of release that to a certain degree. And certainly we've shown in our study that it dramatically reduces stress. And I think part of that is that releasing of that some emotional trauma that people have.
It's almost like wearing a Reiki session around your neck. It's
Yeah.
what it seems like, right? You know, if you've ever had Reiki, you know, they cut the cords and they remove all the negative energy and move things around to help you feel more clear and clear the channels up.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about EMFs and some other things that you can share with us about protecting ourselves from EMFs, since we're going to be what you said about at the very beginning about basically being blanketed, the world being blanketed with it. I mean, what other things what can we do to protect ourselves? And what should people be on the lookout for besides changes in their physical well-being or how they feel?
Yes. So let's talk about symptoms. So just so people can maybe try to identify this. So brain fog is one of them. And these are very generalized. I mean, they can be anything, you know, where people are not sleeping, they're brain fog, they're fatigued, they're gaining weight, you know, all kinds of things. And they go to their doctor, they're not looking at EMF, you know. I talk about heavy metals also, you know, they're not looking at heavy metals. There's a lot, they're not looking at emotional trauma. There's a lot of different underlying root causes they're not looking at for these subclinical type symptoms that people present with. But people can also have infertility. Lots of studies showing that EMF interferes in infertility, not to mention benign and malignant tumors, especially brain tumors. People can have issues with digestion because they're in this kind of constant state of stress and releasing cortisol. They're not digesting their food very well. So people can be taking all kinds of supplements and their numbers aren't going up on their tests. And so that can be a sign. I mean, there's just so many different symptoms. People can have anxiety and depression as well. Like I mentioned, heart palpitations. Those are probably the most common symptoms, but there's a very, very, very long list in the research. Amazing books, Nick Pineau, Lloyd Burrell, Dr. Mercola, Anne Louise Gittleman, that go deeper in this subject. Daniel DeBon, if people want to kind of dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, Nicholas Pino, I interviewed him when he first came on the scene with his tinfoil, his tinfoil book and all of that. And I know it's funny because I had to ask him, I'm like, could you please tell me how to pronounce your name? He was like, well, it's the wine. But Nicholas Pino, we'll share his information in the replay as well, so you guys can go out and learn more about what, about all of these other pieces of EMFs that we need to be concerned about.
Yeah.
So work inside of the home. What do you do inside of your home to protect yourself? What have you got set up? What do you, I'm waiting for my EMF tester to show up from Israel. I've been waiting.
Great.
3 weeks. Yeah, I've been waiting.
Yeah. So what I've done is, I think the easiest low-hanging fruit that people can do is a harmony pendant. That's one thing. That's probably the first thing that I did, actually. And just to let people know, there's a 100% money back guarantee on these. At any time. There's no, we stay on the website 60 days, but you can return it at any time. We want people to be 100% happy and have a smile on their face. And if you're not, you get your money back. So there's no risk whatsoever. We have a lot of confidence in it. Some other things that you can use that I really like are the Blue Shield technology. That's one thing that I have. I bought the Premium Ultra Blue Shield. It helps to mitigate EMF in 3 different ways. And so it uses scalar waves and it uses some other things to help mitigate EMF. And I have kind of a large house here, so I need a kind of big thing to help mitigate the EMF in my home. The key technologies are also great. They're more expensive, but those are also fantastic devices. I also like Siberian shungite. You can get like 70 millimeter shungite spheres. They're about 7 centimeters, and you can place those anywhere you want protection. Those are also shown to help protect from EMF, and they're cheap. They're like $20. And so the best shungites from Siberia and Russia. And so that's where mine are from. So I have those, and I've just collected different things, over the years. But there's things that, you want to do to protect from EMF. And there's things you can do to correct the EMF damage in your body that it's happened already. And so there's a number of ways to do that. So I do a program called Nest Health, and it's a bioenergetic program, and it will go in and identify everywhere you have like an energetic block that could be caused from EMF at some point. And you do a protocol to help to clear that. I'm wearing one device right now. It's called, it's my bra. It's called the My Health. And there's settings on here to protect from EMF, from your cell phone, from your computer, from radio waves, from microwaves. And the scan that you do will tell you what type of EMF you're sensitive to. And you can do the programs to protect yourself. I wear this when I'm flying, or I use it when I'm flying to protect from the radiation that you get when you're flying at high altitude. So this is a nifty little device, not cheap, but one of my tools that I use. And but there's other things too. There's like Pure Wave Now mats, or they're called Pure Wave mats actually. And they're a mat you can sit on, and because one thing that EMF does is it destroys like these these voltage gate calcium channels in your cells, and calcium builds up in your cells. And this Pure Wave mat, it helps to raise the cell voltage in your body to help to correct that. So you kind of flush out all this calcium in your cells, and it just helps your body to work better by correcting the cell voltage. And that's what this is also doing. But some people like the mats, but I use this My Health every single day. I mean, it's just, there's hundreds of functions that I use it for. I put it on like physical rejuvenation because it increases stem cell production, or the anti-aging stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. in this. So I like this. And then there's just very simple free things that you can do. So one of them is not charging your cell phone by your head while you're sleeping. Very simple things, because, anytime your computer's plugged in, charging, your phone's plugged in, it's emitting dirty electricity that's affecting you. It's not just the Wi-Fi signal, there's dirty electricity as well. You want to keep your phone, if you're just around, you want to keep it arm's length from you. So if you want to keep your phone arm's length, because the farther away something is from you, the less harm it can do to you. So just distance is really key. There's also things like, you want to look in your home, evaluate your home, make sure that your smart meter, which most people have smart meters in their home now, make sure that's not in the headboard of your wall where you have your head at night sleeping.
On the outside of the house?
Yeah, make sure it's just not in that wall or even near your bedroom. A lot of people, they have an unfortunate placement of their smart meters in their home. You don't want it in your child's bedroom on the wall. You don't want it near your wall where you're sleeping. I've had some clients that live in an apartment building. Everyone's smart meters was, the entire complex was on the wall of their apartment. I mean, it just, this person could not work. I mean, they were completely incapacitated because they were just being Wi-Fi'd every day. So simple things like that. Turn off your Wi-Fi router at night, or you can put a timer on it, because sometimes it can be hard to remember to do that. You can get like a $4 timer and just have it turn off and on when you go to bed and you wake up.
Yep, that's one of my plans. I've got a teenager in the house that doesn't think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
but that's gonna happen. Like, we're gonna do that because when we're sleeping, there's no need to have it. There's no need for it.
But there's ones that turn off automatically when they're not in use.
Okay.
So there's I forget the name of them, but you can find them online. So there's ones that just turn off when they're not in use. So there's lots of options out there. There's also little stickers you can buy that are great. I love Robin Oppenshaw's Exubi. I have a sticker in my store as well that's great. And they do work. I have one on my computer. I have one on my phone. There's all these little things you do add up to help to mitigate all this stuff. But it is something that you need to be thinking about. You need to be adding to what it is that you're doing, especially if you feel like what you're doing isn't really working. Because I've definitely been in that place where I'm like, I do so many things for my health. In the past, I was like, why do I feel like crap? Why do I eat this perfect diet? Exercise. I try to sleep. I, take this bag full of supplements. And when I was 37, this is like, I'm 48 now, but when I was 37, I just had this amazing regime. And I was just like, why do I wake up feeling like crap? And why don't I feel good? I have this great life. And I just felt blah, gray. I didn't feel joy. And so I went on this quest to try to figure out why. How do I optimize my life as much as I can? And so definitely EMF mitigation needs to be on that bucket list of things to address.
Yeah, awesome. Those are great suggestions. And I'm probably going to reach out for a couple of your links that you can share with us. So the things you were talking about, right? And when you said the first item, and I can't remember what you said it was, it's the first thing you share that you have in your house. What is that item again?
It's a blue shield.
But what is that exactly?
I'm sorry. So that is just an EMF mitigation device. It's just, you just plug it in and it mitigates the EMF in your home. So, you can get different sizes. They have a blue cube for kind of smaller areas or just your room. They're about $500. And the one that I got is for a larger home, for maybe a 3,000 square foot home or so. That's about a $1,200, $1,299. And those definitely, those work very, very well.
Okay, awesome. All right, we have a couple of questions here. So Joshua, and I have the same question. He says, I've been curious about the significance of the sacred geometry on the pendant. What is that from? Like, what's the design from? What's the origin of that?
Yes. So this is just the person who designed the pendant. This is just kind of something that he worked with for over 10 years. He just was trying to work with different types of geometry to see what worked. And he worked with over thousands of clients, and eventually figured out what would be the kind of optimal, shape and size and dimensions of the holes in the pendant to help communicate the correct information to the body to optimize the blueprint. And so sacred geometry, that just means ancient. That's really all that means. It doesn't have any connotation to like religion or woo-woo or new age. It really doesn't. It's just science. So essentially what I mentioned before is geometry is what dictates the energy field. And everything on the planet emits a frequency or an energy field. Everything, a rock, a plant, everything. And even every different organ system, your DNA emits an energy field. That is dictated by geometry. And so if you have a circle here, geometry will change the waveform. So you have like this energy beam, you have like a waveform, and it's oscillating at a certain frequency. And so if you change geometry, you can change that waveform and how it oscillates, and that changes the information. So when you're thinking about different frequencies, like radio waves, for instance, you can tune into the radio channel like 98.6. And when you tune into that frequency, you hear the information that was traveling on that radio wave. You hear the voices and the information, the commercials, the music. And that's essentially what you're doing with the pendant, is you're just kind of changing the waveform, the information being sent to your body, and you change and optimize your energy field. Essentially, you're just changing the information that's being sent to it. So that's kind of a nice way to explain it.
Yeah, it makes sense. And they have different colors, and I'll share a link for you guys shortly. But one of the things that drew me to it is the simplicity of it, the lightness of it. I did like the design, and I'm a jewelry freak, obviously. So, I mean, it was attractive to me because of other reasons as well. But so we have more questions start coming in. This is what usually happens when we get close to the end of the hour. So Anonymous says, I have a circuit breaker in one of my bedrooms. What would I use for that?
Yeah, so that's just a tough one. A circuit breaker is not as bad as the smart meter. I mean, usually those are in the same place. I would advise you need to change your environment. There is only so much you can do to mitigate this blast of EMF, because some of these smart meters send out a signal 25 miles every few seconds.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's devastating to your health. And so, and many people realize this. I noticed this too when I would leave my house. I used to live in Los Angeles, and I had 400 cell phone towers within a 5-mile radius of me. I mean, just crazy. And so I would notice when I go to a hotel where they have all of the electricity grounded, typically, I would sleep unbelievably. And then I noticed this every time I left my home or go camping or something like that, or glamping. I don't really camp, I glamp. I would just notice I slept so much better. And you need to kind of do that experiment for yourself, and you need to ask yourself if you want to continue to expose yourself to that, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
It's not really worth it. You want to look at moving, or at least moving your bedroom, or if you can't move your bed, your headboard to the other side of the room, distance yourself as much as you can from that, and do some EMF, things that can mitigate EMF, like maybe the Blue Shield technology can be put in between you and that high EMF source.
Yeah.
And what I like about the pendant is that, a lot of people create like this cocoon, like this EMF cocoon in their home. But what happens when they leave? What happens when they go to work? What happens when they go to the store, the mall, or whatever, the Starbucks? The pendant goes with you everywhere that you go. So it can be great in that regard. And it's not just a sticker on your phone, which is, great for your phone, but what about all the other EMF, Wi-Fi sources out there? Not to mention the satellites that are coming. You know, and a lot of people, I have a tri-field meter. Well, kind of, you know, nerded out and gone around through my home and check, oh, what's this? You know, my TV is emitting Bluetooth. Oh my God. And so I would, you know, find the sources in my home of EMF and turn them off or whatever I chose to do. But the frequencies for the satellites are in like the 60 hertz range. Those are not detected by a tri-field meter or any meter that you're going to get. The only kind of meters that will detect those are these $20,000 meters that building biologists use.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very concerning thing that people are really not going to be aware of, even if they're using meters to detect EMF in their environment. So, you know, and I talk about like all these different devices and the pendant, and the Harmony pendant and whatnot. And these are a great start, but you really do have to mitigate EMF in your environment. That's the most important thing. People can put like graphite paint in their bedroom also. That will also shield and block. People can get Faraday cages. People can get grounding sheets, grounding pads, swimming in the ocean, doing grounding. I don't think grounding enough is enough alone by itself to help, you know, reverse the effects of EMF, but it's every little bit helps. And so those are a couple other things that can help, you know, mitigate and block EMF.
Yeah, and along that's a good time to segue into this question. I'll get back to Linda's in a moment here, but Natalia is saying, I work at a facility full of electronics and equipment. There's been issues with electric interference. We're not sure what's causing it, but wanted to explore EMFs. Do you have a suggestion for a resource for a quick start? And additionally, she says she'd like to contact an expert and have them come to the facility. Do you know anyone in Phoenix, Arizona that can do something like that? Or where does she start to look?
Gosh, you know what? I'm not the person to ask about building biologists. But I know if you follow Nick Pinot, he's I think the EMFguy.com. He definitely has resources there. He has a podcast that's all about EMF.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in here for you guys right now. And also, let me just throw this out there too. He has quite a few other resources that you can look into for your smart meters, and like maybe some blankets for your you know, boxes and things like that. So check him out. Nicholas Pino, like the wine. Yeah. Okay. So Linda is asking, I know anytime Linda's got a question, it's going to be a good one. Have you heard of the chicken study that Dr. Klingart refers to? He and Nick Pinot don't advise pendants until other Wi-Fi mitigation is implemented in the home because of the unofficial study. She uses a pendant and she notices a difference. How do you feel about the philosophy of being cautious of pendants at a first line defense? Are they talking about EMF pendants? They're not talking about like.
Yeah, so, you know, and I think for good reason, Dr. Klingart and other people, even Nick Pinot, even though he's worn a Harmony pendant and had, you know, a profound experience with it, because when I met the person who put the pendant on me, he was with me and had the same experience that I did. So he's still, I think because of the lack of science with a lot of pendants that claim to be protecting from EMF, I think a lot of people have really wanted to distance themselves from pendants of any kind or pendants that transmute and whatnot. And because they've said that, they don't want to go back on that. And I understand that. But the Harmony pendant does have a solid study behind it that shows that it improves heart rate variability. But, you know, and they're talking specifically about EMF blocking pendants. And so the Harmony pendant is not necessarily an EMF blocking pendant, but we were able to show that it, you know, mitigates the stressful effects of EMF by 48%. And I do believe we'd probably show more of that if we had, you know, not tested just 5 minutes after the pendant was worn, but maybe tested 30 minutes or an hour, or even a day afterwards. So I understand why a lot of people say that, but the fact of the matter is, you know, the Harmony pendant's more of like a stress reduction device, and in reducing, you know, the stress by improving the energy field, it helps to kind of mitigate some of the stressful effects of EMF. So, you know, it's, for me, it's a little bit, it's a kind of like semantics almost. where I think there's a lot of garbage out there on the market. There's a lot of EMF pendants out on the market that are just complete nonsense. And there's also, I think, a lack of really good studies that have been done as well. And so I think that they're just people also, but there are products that do work. And then I know Dr. Klinghardt. I mean, I did the Heavy Metal Summit with him. We're not best friends. I'm not calling him up on the phone, but I do hope that him and Nick Panoa and other people in our space could, be more open to the possibility that there are products out there that do work, including pendants.
Yeah. And I took it the same way as you did. Like when I heard that, and I had heard Nicholas say that, I heard it as EMF pendants, not actually what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's a difference there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference. And, there's a lot of different products out there I've seen for pendants that some have minerals in them and some have shungite and some have, crystals and crystals are great, but they can have negative energy in them also that can have negative effects on your energy field if they're not cleared, and there's lots of different products out there on the market that are beneficial, even though they may not be just EMF pendants, right? And some of the stuff out there that's complete garbage, that's just nonsense.
Yeah. And Tori's, basically saying, she's seen the pendant advertisements that absorb EMFs, and so on. So this conversation we just had kind of answers to that. Really what it ends up being, you guys, is that you need to do your own homework on this. And I mean, this is just like, we're not doctors. We're not here to tell you what to do with your health. We're here to give you information on things that we know have science backing and that, backing them, that actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there are pendants out there that absorb EMFs or whatnot, I would definitely look at reviews. I'm a big reviewer person. I like to look at what people are saying in reviews. I like to look at who's behind this study. There's a lot of deep diving that we have to do to investigate whether or not something is good for us or not. So,
yeah, and you can look, there's hundreds and hundreds of reviews for the pendant that you can read for yourself. These were unsolicited reviews. You can read them for yourself. People saying all kinds of things that they were helped with the pendant. And I agree with Klinghardt and Nick Panoa that, you need to mitigate EMF in your environment because you have to stop the source. But no matter what you do, even if you do everything in your home, you still are going to be exposed to EMF when you walk outside the door of your home. And for many people, they just don't have the time or the funds to do the thing or the knowledge to do this EMF mitigation. It certainly needs to be on the list, but the pendant is a very, very easy first step that people can do to help while they are kind of going through that learning curve of mitigating the EMF in their environment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Rachel says, is the pendant dangerous for people with metal plates in their bodies? And do EMFs affect people with plates more?
Yes, I do think metals do attract EMFs more. Unfortunately, I do think heavy metals, people that are heavy metal toxic, do attract EMFs more. People that sleep on like coils in their bed, those metal coils attract EMF. That it's like an antenna, essentially.
Yeah. And metals in your body, same thing. She's kind of asking about like knee replacements, any kind of implants. And again, you guys, just FYI, we interviewed Mark Steele about 5G and metals in the body, and our podcast is out. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, we'll share the link out there as well. But I encourage everyone to listen to that as well. He goes very deep into what's going on with 5G and people who have metal in their bodies and how it's disrupting our energy, just like we're talking about right now. And he's an amazing person to follow on Instagram as well. Just out there sharing everything in the world, to his own detriment sometimes. Right. And you'll find people, you guys, I want to share this too, people that are out there that just want the truth to be out about what's going on with EMFs. They're being quieted. A lot of people are being censored and quieted about the dangers of it. And it's for the reason that Wendy's talking about. We're about to be blasted with this stuff, and it's going to be worse. So now is the time to get ahead of the game before we experience even more exposure to these toxic frequencies. Michelle is saying our regular meter was on the outside of our son's room near his bed, age 10 to 18. Can you speak to even how a regular meter might affect our health? And we'll wrap up here. We're close to the hour, but Any input on a regular meter?
Yeah, the regular meter is not as bad. I mean, it would emit dirty electricity. You know, in the United States, the wiring in the walls, the circuit is always on, where in other countries like Australia and Europe, the circuit is turned off when it's not in use. That's why you have to flip a switch for the electrical outlets to work. In some countries, I'd go there and be like, why do they have this set up like that? So inconvenient. I want it on all the time. But in the United States, the wiring is on all the time. And so that emits dirty electricity. So that is problematic, but not nearly as bad as a smart meter sending out this really strong Wi-Fi signal over a really long distance. So it's not as bad.
Well, that's good news. That's good news to hear there. Okay, a couple things, comments. I just got these for my husband and me for Christmas, Dixie says. He put it on his on right away. When a week later, when I got to the directions and told him we had to do the setting to our body, he said, oh no, what will happen that I've been wearing it without it? She said, haha. So glad to hear it's okay. He'll be relieved. By the way, yeah, she said she got her hand stuck in her chain this morning and somehow the chain broke. Is that replaceable?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. We replace the chains. So just email support@harmonypendant.com and they'll send you a new chain. So we do free chain replacement. Like if you're a kid, you know, sometimes children wear them and they lose them. We just replace them for free. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And like I said, if you're not 100% satisfied, you know, if you just want to try it, there's no risk and you get 100% money back guarantee.
Yeah, that's awesome and unheard of. I actually wear mine on a shorter chain because every time I bent over to do something, I was getting it in my mouth. I think I messaged you about that. So I just switched it to another chain, but it works perfectly.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah. And my mom, hi mom. I love her. She shows up for all my webinars. All the time. She says, can you bathe or shower with it on? And do you have to remove it during that time? I wear mine all the time.
You can, because the different metals, like with the silver one is made of stainless steel. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to rust. You can sleep with it. You can shower with it. It's fine. And we also have an 18 karat gold plated. Also, that's because of how it's made. That's not going to have any problem. You can shower with it, whatever. We also have rose gold coming out soon. That's going to be out probably end of January, but it's not out yet.
Yeah, they're all pretty and they're very shiny all the time. Shauna says it needs to be worn around the neck to work. Is that correct? So someone mentioned putting it in their pillow when they sleep, but is it best around the neck? Because I sleep with mine on. I never take it off unless I'm, cleaning it or something.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be worn around your neck. I know some people don't like step around their neck or necklaces. So you can wear it on your wrist. You can put it on under your pillow at night. Some people do that with their husbands if they won't wear them, like me. Or your kid, like say your kid just won't wear them or they keep losing it or whatever. You want to make sure the icon, there's like this icon is facing away from the body. So you just put it on your pillow. You would just have the icon like facing down, put it under your pillow or put it on a piece of jewelry, or you can even put it like in your purse. So if you have like a, strappy purse, just put it in there and it works too. So it's all good.
As long as it's close to your body, you keep it somewhere close to your body. Okay. Last question here. When I charge my phone at night and put it in airplane mode, I was told that almost completely omits EMFs. Is that true?
Yeah. So at one time that was true. Now you want your phone to be completely off when you sleep.
Okay.
Because now there's a lot of different devices and software and apps. And not devices, there are different apps and things and software in the phones that are tracking you, tracking your location at all times, even when it's in airplane mode. Even when it's in airplane mode, there's still like the Bluetooth can be working and getting, searching for data from cell phone towers. So you want to make sure it's completely off if it's next to you. And if you aren't able to do that because you use it for a alarm or something, try to just distance yourself, put it across the room or charge it in the next room if you're able to. Just don't charge it and have it in airplane mode next to your head while you're sleeping.
Yeah. And I've noticed this too, that when I turn my phone off, and then in the morning when I have a dog gets up sometimes 5:30 for breakfast, and I'll turn it on just to take a look at what time it actually is. And my Wi-Fi has been turned on in the night.
Yeah.
when it's, when it's on sleep mode or whatever, my Wi-Fi is turned on. I don't know how, but yes, Mom, you can get it. Yeah. The titanium in your neck it's not going to affect the titanium in your neck. You're safe with that. You're safe.
It won't
Yeah.
affect that, no.
Okay. Wendy, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all of this information. And I've shared the link, you guys, on how you can get the Harmony pendant. It is in the chat. I put it in there twice. Everybody should, hold on a minute. Let me make sure I switch this to panelists and attendees. I'll drop it in one more time. The replay will go out with resources with a link to this. I'd also like to grab that resource for that item that you said was $500 that you've got for your home. Yeah. And any other tips that you might have or items that you have that people can look into for protecting themselves. And just want to say, you guys, this is just like, we're far beyond just looking at food and movement, where we have to look at everything that's going on in our environment today. And stress is at an all-time high for all of us. And that undoes just about everything that you are doing. It undoes how you eat. It undoes how you're moving. Because when we're under stress, our body sends out all of these stressful hormones at all times. So this is actually, to me, has felt kind of like a little bit of a balm, so to speak, for some of the things that are going on outside of my control. So something to consider there. But yes, and you're welcome. Joanna, I would like this info on the other devices and items you mentioned, if possible. If you don't mind to provide us with that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. We have like an EMF guide. We're developing a series of EMF guides. They're not out yet. We don't have them yet, but they would be much more comprehensive. And that we'll be offering that soon. We don't have it yet, unfortunately. But I right now I just have a very simple EMF guide on how to mitigate the effects of EMF. But it's very, very simple. But I could provide a link to that.
That would be great. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time today, Wendy. We appreciate you.
Okay, talk to me.
Oh, we lost you. You're locked up. I guess that's the signal. Time to go. All right. We'll talk soon, Wendy. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right.
Bye, everybody.